Hello, my friends. Hey, do you feel a little attachment to the news, to what's going on in the world, trying to follow, figure out? Well, I do too. I just wanted to share that because I'm not trying to sit here on my throne and pretending I know it all. I'm always sharing from the messiness inside or from the insides or whatever is going on. And I just really yesterday, no, the last 2 days, it's been interesting because there's this deep, deep, deep longing to really just merge deeper with my I am presence, with my heart, with my sacred heart. And for a while now, I just feel like there's this, it's kind of an allowing, because I feel I rest in it, but there's just kind of a longing and allowing to just let it come out more. Let it fill in the places inside of me, that are still contracted that I may or may not know about at this point. But there's just this deep, shall we call it prayer or saying yes, inviting it, allowing it out. And it is really, really precious for me. And to be honest, it is all I want. Or so I tell myself. Because if it's all I want, why am I not just sitting in that all the time, except when, I need to do my life? And so the last few days, because of the hearings that have been going on, there is a part of me that is curious what's going on, how it's going to end up. And, I have my people that I have faith in, that I trust in, that I feel a lot of love and compassion for what some of them are going through right now. So there is that part that wants to know what's going on. And again, there is no judgment, there's nothing wrong with that. There is a naturalness in trying to, follow what is going on in the world. Otherwise, we would probably be in a cave, in a monastery and completely shut off from the world. I'm not. I am in the world, living my life. And so, in that, there is a curiosity, and I'm allowing that to be there. But it's so interesting because the more I just feel this, like this yearning, this longing to just let this live my life deeper and more. Um, I'm starting to see when I really let myself be distracted by listening to YouTubes or things that are showing what are going on in the world, from different people, because I do want to be on top of it. I'm not saying that I shouldn't. That is a part of, like, I want to know what's going on. But there is a little sense of addiction to it. Like, there is an addiction to knowing that's probably more than is um, is good for me. Again, I'm not like a drunkard, I'm not getting drunk on the news or anything like that. But it's just noticing where I put my attention when I deeply, deeply, and only want to merge deeper, to soften, to let the boundaries of thee and me, God and I, just dissolve more. And I do plenty of that. But the last few days, I just noticed, like, okay, so if I really just want this, why am I watching this and then that? And I just let myself do it. It was almost like there was a layer that has suddenly become more conscious to me, because as I deepen in here, then this can become more conscious. It's like the more light I let myself steep in, the more of that light can show where I'm still not living in that light. So I think that sums it up pretty much what was going on. So noticing that, and then like, okay, well, I was not trying to not do it. I was not trying to suppress it. I was not making myself wrong for it. I don't do that. That's all I can say. If I do it, then I will know, and then I will be curious about why I do that, because that's not something I'm interested in. But here, just noticing that, it's like, oh wow, okay. So you say you want this, and then you're doing that. Letting myself just do it, just, but with a presence and with a consciousness that wasn't there before to the extent that it was at that moment. So I'm just allowing, how I often talk about allowing, listening, loving. That's my little formula that I use a lot, that I've been teaching a lot. And just observing, like, wow, all right, Pernille, here you go. You want to know. And then I was just feeling into my body, what is that wants to go out and know something? And this is a little bit different than not knowing. Not knowing can be scary. I've talked about not knowing. It can just feel differently. And when you are more in tune with your body and know how to listen to it, there's a refinement. When, maybe you're hard on yourself, or when you're just allowing yourself it. There's a fine tuning where you can just be totally present with your experience without suppressing, without making it wrong, without commenting, without believing it, without resisting it. There's just a pure present with it. So it's just observing and noticing what happened in my body was when I was watching these YouTubes, and just feeling it. And then I can really start feeling, what is it here? And it does feel like some kind of an addiction, that it gives me something that I want in here. Not in here, but probably in my head or something. So just being with that, letting it happen. And then I can ask myself, Pernille, is that really what you want? So you see, it's very loving. It's very curious, very open hearted, meeting myself in a place that still lives a little bit in the darkness. And I said, okay, honey, so what is it about this? So, what is it that feels so seductive or feels so good about following that? And then I could just really be with that. It's like, oh, yeah. It's like there's some kind of a grasping for knowing something. And then when it's really conscious, without any judgment, without any story, it's like being in the rawness of this grasping. Like, okay, yeah, feeling that. And in that, it gives me a lot more space to choose. And that's why I ask myself, is that really what you want? And then there's always an immediate no, I really want to deepen and open up more to the bigness, to the everything, to the infinity that I am, besides what I know about myself. By being here, I want to open up more to that. And here is what I really want to share today, what is very important for me. And it really relates to the longing that I talk a lot about. So when I feel this longing here to just deepen in this, merge in it, there is a real sweet sensation in that. And this sensation is what I basically say yes to. It is love. It's not love out there. It is here. It is me, not Pernilla. It is I. I am. So the more we realize what I am is, that it is not separate from us, that the I am present is who we are, is who I am. And somehow, because I have been deepening in it, now it has a more delicious flavor of love. And this flavor of love makes it even more attractive to me to be there, to the point where I just like, I want to stop doing this. I just want to be here in my heart with the love that I feel, and then feeling that this love is who I am. So it's really coming deeper, coming closer at one with who I truly am. And it has a very distinct, sweet, loving flavor to it. And the more I feel that longing, felt sense of longing, and again, that can look and feel different for all of us, maybe depending on how open our hearts are, how much we have tuned into it. It can be just a sweet longing, but not much to it. But in my case, I am really feeling that this longing, it's almost like it's letting me know more about itself, about myself, right? That it's the same. So I can really feel that. And that's why there it's like when we surrender to the divine, it's a good question to ask, right? Who or what do we actually surrender to? And I talk about, well, surrendering to the longing, because that is where the divine lives. And it's calling us just with this sense of like, oh, oh, yes, please, more of that. And then that feeling, the more we give ourselves to that feeling, it starts opening up and it feels more delicious. It feels more attractive, more than anything else. That does not mean that all our identities, our attachments, our connections with the outside world are all gone right away. And that's why I'm sharing this story. There can easily still be some things where we really want to grasp at the world. I think a lot of the people who end up in caves in the Himalayas and are become ascetics or whatever, they probably don't have that. It's all gone. That's why they just want to sit now and merge with the divine. So if we really want that, if we really want to surrender to the divine, if we start with feeling the longing to surrender to the divine and be one with the divine, that is the portal. And the more we hang out here, the more the portal opens. So it's the more like, it's almost like the more the divine exposes itself as the love that it is, and as the love that I am, that your I am is, makes it even more attractive. So the longing gets stronger and the pull to go there more grows. And if we keep following that, the attachments to the world, again, we don't feed them as much, right? That it's we keep feeding the attachment because it's like we get something from that. The addictions and the attachments, it's like it gives us something, but it never gives us what we deeply long for. So maybe this is just a little bit of just sharing my own experience. Again, maybe you can relate to it. Maybe you have your own attachments to certain things. It could be an attachment to one of the politicians, that you really want them to be right, or you really want them to be wrong, and you want them to be sentenced to something, or you want them to be nominated for something. And that's of course what's going on right now. Maybe you also have some kind of an attachment and you want to know. It's like a football game, right? If you have your favorite football team, you root for them, and that is the attachment, and it gives us something like, yeah, because I believe in that. And that is, to me, as I'm seeing it now, it's the same as to the news and who we root for, who we don't root for, who we want to win, who we want to lose. It's all an addiction in here that keeps us basically separated from what we deeply and truly want. So please don't deny it, don't suppress it, don't reject it. allow it. Allow it to the best of your ability. When you allow it, it's like you take a step back and you can be present with your little addiction or big addictions. You can just start observing it. And then you can go and say, okay, so when I do that, there's something in here that somehow feels satisfied. It's like it gets something. So then you can just be with that and find out what it is, what part gets nourished by that. And is that what you really want? And now you're at a place where you can choose. You can choose, like, okay, I'm going to go here, 5 times a day, but I still want my half hour with that. Great. Do it. You see, there's no pushing or controlling it. There's noticing, and you're allowing yourself to sink in deeper into yourself in a way that feels good and nourishing. So you're never denying any part of yourself, because anything that we deny, it kind of grows because we feed it by suppressing it. So we give it a lot of energy. But when we just say, okay, I see you, yeah, well, you can go ahead and do it. And then you're just observing it and allowing it. And then you can start getting curious about, wow, there is something that seems really important for that part. I want to know more about that. And that is a real beautiful self inquiry where there is no denying, rejecting, bypassing. There is an allowing. And in that allowing, we allow our true self to come out more as the love that allows, and more love comes in. And then we have more um, then we feel more motivated to go there more, because this is actually not as attractive as we thought it was, at least not as much. So I hope that helps. That was just Pernilla's little story of what she's going through right now. And I thought it was maybe important enough to share it with you. All right. Have a great day.